Before we get into today's Tech Tuesday video, just a little health update. Now, I founded my blog during the meanwhilest and this channel as vehicles to help me get through having multiple myeloma, blood and bone cancer. And just lately, I've been suffering quite badly, if truth be told. Now, I always said that I would, one of the founding pillars of this channel was openness and honesty. And I know that a lot of people who watch this channel watch it because they suffer with chronic illness and chronic pain themselves. And I've always promised that I wouldn't be disingenuous with you. I'd be upfront and honest. And lately, just the last 3 months or so, I've been struggling. To be honest with you, I am about to finish a year of bone strengthening infusions, but since about the start of April, maybe mid-March, I've been suffering with horrendous pelvis and hip bone pain, and lower back as well. But that's always been there. To the extent that I'm probably now going to have to mention it to my hematology team, as I can't put up with it much longer. It really is quite bad. So to all those people who may have messaged me, I know there are a few of you. I haven't got back to you. I'm sorry. It's not because I've been ignoring messages. It's because I haven't had the energy or the wherewithal to get back to you. I've either been making these videos, going to hospital appointments, taking pictures, or relaxing and resting, to be honest. But we'll carry on making these videos as long as we possibly can. I've got nearly 2,000 subscribers now, so it would be nice maybe to hit the 2,000 subscriber mark sooner rather than later, and see where we go from there. Anyway, enough of this. Let's get on with today's video.
Can anyone remember the days, not that long ago, when these shelves were covered in cameras? Well, there's still 2 of them. One day I'll turn you around and show you the rest of the Lego.
What did I say?
During the meanwhilest.
During the meanwhilest? No, I don't like that at all.
Well, hello. It is us three back again. The dog, the Boyd, and the alleged photographer. And this week we have some retro camera fun for you with a video I've called "I Use a Nikon D700 in 2024, and here's why you should too." Oh, so catchy. I don't know. I come up with these titles. No clickbait here. Now, why, especially in these times of computational photography where mirrorless cameras can perform such wonders as focusing on the eye of a gnat from a mile away, shoot at 30 or more frames per second, have built-in ND filters, can make composite multi-megapixel images or focused stacked marvels with the click of one button, and even be good enough to shoot a feature-length movie, would I, or anyone else for that matter, want to use what is frankly a digital relic to take pictures. And pictures only, mind, no video. Pick up any modern camera and lens from the past couple of years, and by and large they will all take exactly the same picture. Micro Four Thirds, APS-C, full frame, or even medium format, it doesn't matter. You have to be a special sort of person to take a technically poor image with any of them. They're all packed with a host of features to make the photographic process a breeze, but with all that wizardry and sometimes gimmickry comes a sense of detachment from the process of actually taking a picture. And to answer the question I posed just now, why use a Nikon D700 now? Well, the answer for me is simply soul. And by soul, I mean a more hands-on and involved user experience, a camera that can reinstate that lost attachment. My old D700 is a fine example of a camera that has soul, but there are others, like first generation Canon 5D, or even a modern Pentax. Things like having, fewer autofocus points, slower autofocus itself, a lack of resolution, and any aids like, in-body image stabilization means that you, the photographer, has to be far more careful and in tune with your exposure and particularly your composition. To use that word again, you have to be attached. But why though? Why? Well, for example, I find at this time of year, I like to sit out in my garden with a large telephoto zoom attached to my Fujifilm X-H2 and have my micro Nikon 105mm lens stuck on the front of my D700 already at hand. And when I see a bird land on the feeders, I can quickly grab my X-H2 and capture that moment. The camera takes care of autofocus, and using aperture priority or any of the modes to hand, really, exposure to. Rarely does the focus or exposure miss, and there's enough resolution to reframe a shot and enough, dynamic range to, re-expose it if needed in editing / post-processing. Call it what you will. I dare say if I tried to grab that quick shot with my Nikon, that I'd end up probably missing 90% of opportunities. So I use my Nikon D700 on these occasions to capture, macro images of slow-moving, and they have to be slow-moving insects or flowers, and I've christened it the Dream Maker. Not just on account of the images I can get, but also because it, along with that 105mm goat lens, is more able than any other camera and lens I've owned to transfer an idea or a concept from my noggin up here onto a sensor, and maybe then even a print. Call it art if you want, rather than just taking a picture.
Pretentious? Moi?
Now, yes, I can, and I do get far more detailed than, I dare say, sharper images with my X-H2 and that Laowa lens especially, but that's missing the point. There's something about the inherent softness is the word, really, that the D700 sensor produces. It's a good softness, though, if you get my drift, particularly when coupled with the goat, which renders out-of-focus backgrounds like no other lens I've ever used, even much faster f1.8 or 1.4 ones. The images, although they have that softness, are sharp enough, and they don't hurt your eyes like some can. And the transition to those out-of-focus areas is why I call that setup the Dream Maker. Most of all, though, for me personally, when I get a really good photograph from my Nikon D700, I feel a sense of achievement that is sometimes missing from my Fujifilm photography. To rewind a little, I feel that attachment to the image and the sense that, I took it more than the camera did. I didn't just, push the shutter button. Does that make sense? And it's not just macro or close-up stuff either. Turn the clock back to 2012 and a Nikon D700 together with a manual focus 24mm AIS lens, really old lens, was my go-to landscape and seascape kit, and I think I got some really rather lovely images with it. The colour palette the camera afforded seemed tailor-made for the types of scenes I enjoyed shooting, and there are some examples on screen now. And although I was happy with the D800 and 16-35 I upgraded to, they just couldn't give me that same, happy feeling I got when shooting the D700 and that old lens. Finally, add in indestructible build quality, easily manageable small RAW files, class-leading ergonomics, and a cool factor that goes up to a gazillion, and that's why I still shoot with an ancient relic today. And I mean the camera, not those occasions I go out with Lisa. And for those reasons, I can forgive the camera for its shortcomings. Not that there are that many, really. The only real bugbear I have is the rear LCD screen. It's fixed in place, which for someone with the mobility of a large oil tanker isn't great. This makes shooting at ground level a bit of a chore, and I sometimes find myself reaching for the X-H2 and its lovely, fully articulating screen on such occasions. Also, that the screen's resolution and brightness aren't also the greatest, and on bright sunny days I often find myself swearing at the camera while trying to check focus or composition in the viewfinder before remembering that as a DSLR it doesn't actually do that. But why, dear viewer who has made it this far, do I think that you should have a Nikon D700 in your camera arsenal too? Well, put simply, for all the same reasons I've said, I love the camera really. If you want to feel more attached to the image making process and feel more like, you actually took a picture, then short of shooting film, this is as close as you're going to get. And there's absolutely no doubt in the fact that being seen with one in public will instantly elevate your coolness rating, especially among those who know. And it'll give you an excuse to visit your local camera shop to buy a compact flash card. A couple of years ago, I advised anyone who would listen to go out and buy a Nikon D700 before they're either all gone or the prices have rocketed. Well, maybe those predictions haven't come to pass. A cursory glance online shows that you can pick one up for under £300 even, but cameras selling for this amount seem to be in good or worse condition only, or with a stratospherically high shutter actuation count. Ones in the excellent or mint condition category now seem to be a rare find indeed, and they command quite a premium. So if you can find one, grab one. Right then, that's it for this week. Some Nikon D700 shot images to follow, and just be nice, okay? We'll see you all again soon. Ta-da.